A Royal Canadian Air Farce special presentation.
Oh, Prime Minister, I didn't realize you were working.
Paul Martins, come in. I am just grappling with a vital decision. I need your advice.
What's it about? Healthcare? Transfer payments? Retirement?
I cannot make up my mind whether to take my golf vacation in New Brunswick or Banff.
Jean, this is a very tenuous time for the Liberal Party. There is intense pressure to reduce taxes. Our popularity is eroding, and we have to face the fact that the Canadian alliance is posing a very serious threat.
Jeepers, so many problems. I had no idea the situation was so bad. I cannot imagine how things could be any worse.
Prime Minister, I gotta talk to you. Do you hear me?
I spoke too soon. Sheila Cops, what is up?
We've got a new crisis on our hands. Without immediate additional funding, our entire national park system could collapse.
And this is a bad thing?
I've got the perfect plan. We open a new, huge wilderness park with no roads, no buildings, nothing but what Mother Nature provides. It'll bring in millions.
Where would we put it?
Toronto.
Paul, Toronto is already in Toronto.
That's the beauty of my plan. We gain a wonderful new national asset, and at the same time, we get rid of Toronto.
Paul, I don't think you understand the gravity of the situation.
Oui, hello, Cretien, Canada.
We need...
What?
People will come to this from
They just delivered 50,000 Palestinian refugees to my house. Oh, creeper, jeeper, that is a real crisis. Sheila, Pauls, we have real problem in front of us. Tough decision have to be made, and I am going to start now.
What are you going to do?
I have a saying, when the going get tough, the tough get golfing.
See, the dollar's gone down again. Experts say by the end of the summer, it'll only be worth 62 cents.
Well, that's not so bad, Charlie. 62 cents American.
No, Vera, that's 62 cents Canadian Tire money.
See, Cretien's worked his diplomatic magic in the Middle East.
Say, he offended Israelis one day and the Syrians the next. They both hate him. What's so good about that?
For the first time in 2,000 years, he's got Arabs and Jews to agree on something.
Big storm brewing. Saw it on the Weather Network.
Al, what are you doing watching the Weather Network?
Had to. Batteries went dead in my remote control. I don't know how to change the channel.
Well, I better get home before the storm and open all the windows.
What? Open the windows? Why?
Well, that way I get the kitchen floor washed.
Well, I just sold my car for $50.
$50? What can you get for $50 these days?
If I still had a car, a fill-up.
Did I tell you my cousin Bernie had to have bypass surgery? He went to the hospital, but they didn't want to get involved.
Mark my words, we're going towards a two-tier healthcare system.
Well, how exactly does that work?
Well, everyone is eligible for Tier 1. But if you got a little money and you want to spend it, you can get into Tier 2. That's where they have the doctors and the medicine.
Good point, Al.
That right here, badger.
Oh, tell me about it.
For letting me sit in your cockpit, Captain.
My pleasure, Mr. Prime Minister.
Oh, this is one heck of one storm, like. It remind me of Vancouver on a good day.
Not to worry, sir.
Hey, what does this button do?
No, don't touch that,
sir. No. CTV News with Sandy Ronaldo.
Good evening. Our top story. The worst storm of the season has hit Canada, causing nationwide devastation. Winds are so high, Saskatoon is now in Regina. And major portions of Moncton have been destroyed, which officials feel is a definite improvement. In Quebec, Premier Lucien Bouchard has officially announced the date of the next referendum. Never. He said, why bother when there isn't a hope in hell of winning? Elsewhere, the Prime Minister's plane has gone missing. In other news, the Canadian dollar is up 10 cents. The TSC posted record gains, and I won $10 on the lotto. That's the news.
The usual, Senator Herkimer?
No, I just have the usual.
Vodka and amaretto?
No, vodka and amaretto.
Well, it looks like Chretien's gone bye-bye.
Good God, no. Say what you like about the man. I never thought that about him. Sly old dog, he's having it both ways. Makes you wonder if that guy who broke into his bedroom was really an intruder.
No, gone bye-bye, not bye.
Looks like the Prime Minister disappeared off the face of the earth.
I had words with him once, you know, nose to nose.
What did you say?
Put me down.
Who's going to be the new leader of the Liberals? Gray? Copps? Martin?
Oh, I hope it's Sheila Copps. Fine figure of a woman, sturdy on it.
Keeps on like this, steam will start coming out his ears.
Comes out of anywhere, won't be his ears.
What?
I said if Chretien's missing, it'll set us back 5 years.
Yes, yes. We got a political gridlock, you know, all caused by that big corner of Parliament taken up by the Bloc Québécois.
Well, they're only there for one reason, the perks.
Oh, be fair. Most of them may be, but they're not all jerks.
Well, I'm not worried. Canada will survive. Look at all the great political leaders waiting in the wings.
I sure hope they find Cretien.
Peter Mansbridge here. It's been 18 hours since the Prime Minister was first reported missing. Since then, a massive search party has been mounted with well over 3 volunteers, unless there's a hockey game on. Repercussions of the Prime Minister's disappearance have been immediate. Patronage appointments have dropped by 50%, and federal grants to his riding have stopped entirely. How does the person in the street feel about this situation? Excuse me, sir?
Oh, yes, indeed. No need to be formal. Call me Joseph P. Clark, Prime Minister in waiting.
Mr. Clark, what is your reaction to the Prime Minister's disappearance?
Oh, yes, indeed. Well, on the one hand, we have the worrisome, serious matter of the missing Prime Minister. On the other hand, we do have one less Liberal.
Well, Mr. Clark, are you personally involved with the search process?
Yes, Peter. In fact, I have launched a special ad campaign whose goal is to find the Prime Minister. Now, if you will excuse me, I have a 7-Eleven store to get to.
And so, while the Prime Minister's whereabouts remain unknown, the question on Canadians' minds, who is running the country?
Sheila Copps, what are you doing here?
I was just checking out my new office.
Your office? I'm acting Prime Minister.
In your dreams, pal!
Wait a second. We're forgetting the gravity of this situation. The Prime Minister's plane is missing. We don't know where he is. For all we know, we may never see him again. Yes! Sheila, now let's be rational. I would be the best Prime Minister.
No way, pal. Who wants a leader named Junior?
Who wants a leader from...
Wait! There is something we've forgotten. Herb Gray. Constitutionally, he is next in line.
Shoot, 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 shoot. What are we going to do?
We have no choice. We'll have to kill him.
Are you out of your mind? How?
We'll make him have dinner with Art Eggleton.
Of course. We'll bore him to death.
Preston, I just heard about the Prime Minister.
I know, Deborah. Isn't it wonderful? This is our golden opportunity.
It is?
This is our chance to seize power.
What? You actually want to take advantage of a human tragedy for your own personal gain?
You got a problem with that?
This is so low, underhanded, sneaky.
Deb, we're politicians.
You're right. What's the plan?
Well, right now, our party has 57 MPs. The majority is 151. So, for me to form a majority, we need a lot more.
But how do we get that majority, Preston?
We get all the other parties to join our alliance, and boom, we're in quicker than you can say, "Bite me, Paul Martin."
What if the other parties won't join?
We have no choice. We'll have to kill them.
Of course. Dinner with Art Eggleton.
Do you believe this weather?
I've seen worse.
Well, worse than this.
1996. Winds like you wouldn't believe. Rain so heavy you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. Entire barns swept away. Cars flipped like toothpicks.
Where was that, Al?
In the movie Twister.
You get your $6.49 for this week?
Lotteries are a tax on the stupid. You've got a better chance of being hit by a bus. They're for lazy, unmotivated people who don't want to do an honest day's work.
So how many did you buy?
The usual 6.
You got the telephone in here?
Yeah, over there.
Thanks.
Isn't that...
That does look like him.
Yeah, you're right. It's Richard Gere.
Charlie, that's not Richard Gere. That's the Prime Minister.
Are you going to eat that crawler? You would not believe the days I am having. First, I got into a plane to go golfing in a thunderstorm. Everything is okay, and then wham! We get hit by a flying cow. I must have passed out. We must have made the emergency land. I wakes up dazed. I do not know where I am. What I do is me who I am. For a moment, I am so stunned, I think I am in the Canadian Alliance. So I start walking, and I walk, and I walk, and I walk, and I walk, and walk, and walk, and walk, but I am getting nowhere. Then I realize I forgot to unbuckle the seatbelt. Then I fights my way through this storm, barely alive, and drags myself in here.
Wow.
What an incredible ordeal.
I seen worse.
CTV News Update.
Reaction to the Prime Minister's disappearance has sent shockwaves across the nation and around the world.
I'm shocked.
I'm shocked.
Hey, Mike.
As Premier of Quebec, I acknowledge this very grave situation for Canada. We must all do what is right for the country. Me, I'm calling a snap referendum.
Him. Who?
Canada, I share your pain. My heart especially goes out to Mrs. Cretien, who right now is a woman alone. Maybe I should go up there and console her personally.
I can't imagine a man of his stature doing something like that in public.
No. Missing.
You know, I've always felt you were the cutest, most attractive, prettiest party leader in Parliament. I've had a secret crush on you for years. You'll join? Great.
Alexa McDonough, leader of the NDP?
Gilles Doucette from the Bloc Québécois.
So that means the Bloc is on board?
Yep. Officially, we're now the Canadian Reform New Democratic Bloc Québécois Conservative Without Joe Clark Alliance Party.
Have you seen the news? Prime Minister disappears. The consternation in Ottawa. As a mark of respect, all the bars started the happy hour at noon. They decided to bring out the army to look for him. It was the first time in Canadian military history that 50,000 men and women all reported sick on the same day. So what a chance, I thought, to launch my own political party. I looked for the right title and threw out my first choice, Canadian Official National Democracy of Mainly Scotsmen. CONDOMS. Because I thought I'd have lost the Catholic vote with lawn signs that said vote for condoms. We need a Scotsman to cut down on our spending. And this is how I do it. Parliament buildings in Ottawa we lease to Disney for Disneyland North. Why not? Mickey Mouse would feel really at home there. Can you imagine Goofy sitting in Preston Manning's office? You wouldn't have noticed the difference. Our health services would be given all the money from all gambling. Hospitals would have gambling. At the front desk, you could play Guess What You Got. If you got a skin problem, it could be scratch and win. And as for the education, the entire system would be revamped to ensure every child has to walk 5 miles to school and 5 miles home again. Let the little buggers try acting up after that lot. So, if the Prime Minister eventually turns up and asks you who you're going to vote for in the next election, look him right in the eye and say, "You're stuffed."
Hey, these bits of Tim are really good, eh, Charlie?
Well, if you ask me, Jean, they're the greatest invention of the 20th century.
How so?
They've given donut holes a chance to lead meaningful lives.
So, Jean, this between us, what are you going to do about retiring?
Well, you know that. The big issue I have in front of me is to retire or not to retire. That is the question. Whether it is nobler, like in my mind, to step down or to stay on and get Paul Martin really PO'd. You know what has held me back? I do not feel that I have made my mark on the average Canadian.
That's not what Canadians say at tax time, Jean.
Taxes is not so easy to fix, Vera.
Here's what you do, Jean. Introduce a decreasing tax structure to put more disposable income in Canadian pockets, which will be returned to the economy, thus increasing government revenues, which, by the way, should be used to pay down the debt. This will send a clear signal to the IMF, create a stronger dollar, and revitalize investor confidence.
You know, Al, it seems so simple when you put it that way. You guy have given me great insight. I now understand the averaging Canadian. And you know some things? I am just like you. Yeah, except I am much more incredible rich and run my own country.
You got that right?
You betcha.
Tell me about it.
Okay, for sure on that.
Well, that's 3 more converts, Deb. But now we're the Canadian Reform New Democratic Bloc Québécois Conservative Without Joe Clark, a couple of Liberal backbenchers, and John Nunziata Alliance Party.
What a dramatic series of events we've witnessed in the past 2 days. In Quebec, Lucien Bouchard called a sneak referendum on separation, and nobody showed up. In Ottawa, Preston Manning's attempt to form a giant alliance and gain a majority in Parliament collapsed when MPs realized their leader would be Preston Manning. Elsewhere, the Prime Minister has been found safe and sound. He's about to hold a major news conference. We go there live.
Okay, for sure. As you know, I was gone missing. I once was lost, but now I am found. And while I was away, I come to deep understand of country this. I also realize now with economy high and dollar is not as worthless, it is time for me to step ass. Step aside. I have in mind like only one person who can replacing me. A fine Canadian. Someone who has always been in touch with Canadians. Because it is important for average Canadian to be herded. We all got to work together. So, at this time, I would like to introducing my choice to replace me. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the next leader of Canada.
Mike from Canmore. Got my vote.
You got that right.
You betcha.
Tell me about it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.